Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Loretta McNary Show. So, this conversation today is a continuation of my month long celebration for Women's History Month, where we honor women who are building, leading, and carrying influence across every area of their life. So, today's guest is the fabulous, multifaceted Deidre Malone. She's a business leader, a political strategist, a media voice, and a community advocate who has mastered the ability to lead in multiple arenas while still staying grounded in what matters most. She also represents the women who wear many hats, and I'm sure you all can relate to that. And while building businesses, shaping conversations, serving our communities, and showing up for our families with intention and strength. Today's conversation is about balance, and what that looks like for each one of us is different, and the pressure, the purpose, and the power behind it all. Welcome, Deidre Malone. Hello there.
Hey, Loretta, how are you? I'm so excited to be on your show today.
This is such an honor for me. I cannot even tell you. I won't fangirl right now, but it has been a joy to even know you were being my guest today.
Well, I'm just so excited. I'm a big fan of the show. And so it's just an honor for me to be on. And I'm looking forward to just sharing whatever I can share with you and your audience today.
Okay, here we go. So, you are known for operating at a high level across business, politics, media. So, how do you define success in this season of your life? Because success, people think it's just one thing. It's not the same thing for everybody. So, what's your definition?
So for me, I feel like I'm on the down portion of my professional career. I'm in my early 60s, and I often have conversations with young women about different seasons of their lives. And so for me, in my early 60s, I feel like success for me is just keeping my word, either professionally or in the community, or, making sure that I plan effectively and making sure if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it still to the best of my ability. Because at the end of the day, Loretta, the only thing you really have is your word. And
Ooh.
so, that's what I try and focus on. As you mentioned, I wear a number of different hats. And so for me, it's about making sure that I say I'm going to do what I'm going to do when I'm going to do it.
Absolutely. My dad taught us that too. Early on, that's one of the things I remember most about him is saying, a good name, keep your name good.
It,
Keep your
in this
name good.
environment, it's hard. Sometimes it's hard,
Well,
because when people don't know you and they feel like they can say things about you and they don't know you, it's tough, but that's important to me.
it's so important to me. And I understand, especially in the social media world that we live in, people, whether it's truth, fact, or lie, people can post it as if it is all of those except for the lie, which is usually is. And they can ruin a person. They don't understand the validity of how you can ruin a person and you telling a lie. You're not, there's no truth in it. And then they do it. And then it's opinionated, but people will take it and run. So, who were you before all the titles, though? Because you and I have known each other a long time, and I always thought that you are super amazing. You have the most phenomenal way of making us appear. You make it easy to wear all these hats and do all the things, and even when people are being at their worst with you, you always seem to carry it with grace and give them mercy when they don't deserve it. And I always wonder what were you thinking, and how did you manage to get to that point?
Well, I really appreciate that question. I think about how, my parents raised me, and I was fortunate enough, probably when I was about 6 or 7, to go and live with my grandmother. And so my grandmother and my grandfather, and then so being around older people, you grow up and you're old. You have this old thought and old mentality. And for me, being really grounded in my faith, I know that God's not going to put more on me than I can handle. And if I have to go through tough times, it's for purpose. It's only to make me better, only to make me stronger, only to test me for the next round. And that's how I really do look at it. When people see me, they think I'm such an extrovert. But Loretta, I'm really an introvert. I mean, I would prefer being at home, reading a book, looking at a TV show, just spending quality time with my husband, my kids, my grandkids. But because of the job that I have, I'm out. I'm always talking to people, but I'm really by nature just an introvert. I'd just rather be at home and I know that's hard to believe, but it
No,
is
it's
so.
so believable because I say the same thing and people almost flip out over. They can't believe it, but it is really true. And I said I'd rather be at home with a good book, sitting on my sofa or in my bed, just reading. Or, of course, my favorite thing in all the world to do is hanging out with my sons and my grandchildren too.
Yes,
But
yes.
I know that I'm called for this work, even when it's difficult and hard and I want to quit. I know I can't. It's just a moment in time, and I get back up and I'll plan a show. So I can definitely relate to that. So what about let me ask you this. So a typical day. What is a typical day for you like? And how do you balance it?
Oh my God. I guess the best part about my job is there's no typical day, right? I mean, owning a public relations marketing and advertising agency, you may have a client or that everything is going well, and then there's a bump in the road and there's a crisis. And then you have to work with them to manage it. So no day is the same, and I guess that's what I love about it. I mean, it's you walk in the door and you think you have your day planned. You may be juggling 4 or 5 clients a day, and then one client has an issue and everything else has to be put on the back burner, or another team member has to handle it because you have to be all in with that client. And that's just my agency. We're not going to talk about I'm an investor in the Tri-State Defender. Okay. I'm the president of the National Women's Political Caucus, and we have an office in Washington, D.C. So everything that's going on that affects women and families in this country, I'm paying attention to, because what we're doing is monitoring, how these elected officials that we put in office vote. And if it has an adverse effect on women and families, then we have to be laser focused on how do we get them out and who do we put in. So, you know, it,
Exactly.
it's a juggling act, but I love every aspect of it, Loretta. I do.
And it shows, it definitely shows, and how you prioritize all of that without dropping a ball or making this area or this person or this community feel less than because you're over here working with that person. And then being a marketing and advertising, a political strategist, a mom, a wife, a daughter, a grandmother. And then you got your friends. You and your friends seem like you have been friends all your lives, because I know the three, I think it's three of them that I know personally. I've As much as I've known one, I've known of the other two, because that's just it. So let's talk about the friendship thing. How do you balance sisterhood with all these other things that pull on your time too? And do you all talk every day, or it seems like when you haven't talked for months, it seems like yesterday that you did catch up?
Oh, I have friends. I have some friends that I've been friends with since the fourth grade. And then I have like my friend Veronica McKenzie in Montgomery. We've been friends since the fourth grade, and she has a business down in Montgomery, a successful living center, which is a daycare for Alzheimer's adult patients, and I chair her board. Then I have friends here in Memphis. I mean, that we travel together. I have a set of friends that we're political friends, and they're my friends that I definitely want in the trenches. And then I call them sisters
Mm-hmm.
because our relationships are so deep that we can fall out over a and not talk to each other for 2 days. And then after those 2 days, She may call me or I may call her, and that's Gail Jones Carson. I'm going to say her name.
Yes, say Gail
Uh,
Jones Carson.
and I'll say, are we good now? I'm still mad at you, but we're good. So you
Okay,
need those friends, right? You need
you
those
do.
type of friends.
I know. We mad now, but let you need something, or her need something, or somebody says something crazy. And your other really good friend, and I think I'm getting this right. I know you and Gail Jones Carson and Tawan Stout Mitchell.
That's another one of my roadies right there. I love. We're thinking about doing a podcast together, Loretta, called the Aunties Unfiltered.
Oh, I love it. Yes, you should with
So
her. And then,
so
I mean, because you guys, your careers and your passion are so parallel. The political strategist part, the love your communities that you grew up in, and of course, family first, and then
yes,
just showing up like ladies. You're right, because I'm the girly girl type, and you all work hard. You roll up your sleeves. You get down and dirty with the best of them. But I always have watched you and Gail, and I always thought, wow, I want friends like this, right? And I do have really great friends, but my friends tend to be more behind the scenes kind of people, and very, very busy though. So I love how I see how you all show up for each other. So I want to ask you this: who were you before all the titles, and is this the life that you dreamed about, or did it organically happen?
so I would say that who I was before all the titles was a mom and a wife who always knew that public service would be a part of my journey. And I think I really hit the mark at 30 when I decided if I'm gonna run for office, what does that look like? And what the impetus was, I saw the difference between how they treated my son that was in the traditional school program and the son that was in the optional school program. And I thought all children should have that optional school experience. So I ran for office, and that put me out there. Didn't win that race, but it let me know that I can be a voice for other parents that may not have the time or the ability to do it. And so that was kind of my start on stepping zone, Loretta, and saying, I just can't sit back and not do something. And so that's who I was before. The mom, the wife, just working hard every day as a news producer at Channel 5.
Yes.
And
That's what I remember.
yeah,
That's when I first got acquainted with you. And I first remember hearing you and seeing you on TV before all these other things started developing. And I still, to this day, Deidre, and we don't have to stay here. I just want to point this out. And I say this all the time. Why aren't schools created equal? Nobody can give me a definitive answer. And I say it just in conversation, not as a TV person, but basically just as a mom. My sons all went to basically optional schools, and they had a great education. And I don't know why zip codes mattered, where you live, what your parents did, and all that stuff matters when it comes to education. It's a crazy, even now, and I have no dog in the fight with the city school system or anything, but I'm like, why are we still seeing the same model from 50 years ago when our parents were in school, and we still see them doing the same thing now, and then they're still separate schools by people who know how it
well,
feels to be separated from something because of who you are and how you look. I don't understand it, but that's all I want to say on that. So I get what you're saying. Crazy.
well, I just think it's important because I think that voters don't realize their power and parents don't realize their power. And when I was elected, Loretta, I would tell people all the time, the only reason I'm here is because you put me here. So the only, that I'm accountable to the folks that voted for me, and then the people that I represented that didn't vote for me too. And so for me, it's about voters and the public they need to understand their power, and their system is only as great or not as great as they want it. because they're the ones with the power.
I wish they understood that, and will understand it on a cellular level and not just on a relational or when you get upset with something. All children deserve a great, great, great education.
Yes,
Hands down.
they
There should
do.
be no other
Hands
additives to that. Every child deserves the optional school experience. You know, the arts, the crafts, the exercise. I don't understand how we fighting over stuff that is so irrelevant when it comes to education to me. But so you are a strong presence in the political strategist universe, and you understand that on a different level. What have you learned about power that most people understand? And it kind of leads into what we've been talking about. Parents don't understand the power they have, but on the political level, what is it that you understand that we don't get as even a person in office or as a voter?
I think that voters need to understand that they're the ones with the true power because they put elected officials in position. And I think elected officials, need to learn too that yes, you have power, but it's temporary. And sometimes they forget that. I mean, I saw it. I managed, a number of mayoral campaigns, and I saw, because I managed the last two campaigns of former Mayor A.C. Wharton, and I saw how he was in the room. I saw how he was treated out in the community. And then I saw he still has a level of respect now that he's no longer the mayor of Memphis or Shelby County. But it changes once you're not elected. So I think, those that are elected and they feel all powerful, they need to understand that you need to treat people with decency and respect. And sometimes they don't, but they're not going to be there forever. And people are going to treat them, how you interact with them, right? And
Yes.
so I'm just, I pray for our elected officials. I really do. And I want them to understand a privilege that a lot of people don't have to represent their districts or their communities, and they should never take that for granted, ever.
Never take it for granted. You have a job to do. It's not just so you can be in media or people can know your name because of some kind of work you did 20 years ago. What are you doing today? But I always stay away from political comments and what's going on because the show airs all across the country. And I don't want my personal opinion or even with truth and facts to be something somebody can take and use against me or this city. So I do stay away from anything that's going to be divisive like that. So because women are watching you, because I've been watching you, and it's crazy that we knew each other for decades and never knew we were cousins. And it's crazy.
I know. I know. And I was telling my mom, Loretta, I was like, I remember when Loretta was starting her own show and we were talking about it. And then to come to find out that we're related, that just blew my mind. I was so excited to learn it.
The power of a picture, the power of going somewhere and talking to people is so underestimated, right? And you need to know your folk. I mean, because the worst thing can happen. I always thought, what if my sons dated one of their cousins? Or what if I dated one of my cousins? But my family really did a great job, when we were younger. And now we don't know who all our cousins are. So any takeaway, get to know your people, trace your roots, ask your mom and your dad and your other cousins who cousins are, because you just can't say, are you imaginary?
Loretta, I didn't even know I had cousins in Memphis. It was so funny when I went to the reunion in Detroit and saw some of our cousins from Memphis and Shelby County. And then, Marilyn came back and said, Loretta's your cousin. I'm thinking, no, I didn't know Loretta was my cousin. So I love it.
Some of my cousins don't know that they're my cousins because I use McNary. My dad is a Shorter, which I'm very, very proud of. Both sides of my family. And I just need to know who they all are. I'm like, I think that's a dating thing, but I'm thinking all people need to know, that's a question you should ask, not where you work. Who are your
people?
Who are your
Exactly. Your
people?
people.
So for the woman who's looking at this show and it's Loretta, you do it all and you balance it all. I can't do it. Or Deidre, she's wearing all these hats, doing amazing in every hat she has in the ring. I'm over here stressing over my life, and first of all, don't compare because we're not sharing all the bad things. We're just talking good stuff right now. But so how do you inspire other women or encourage them when they want to hold their life up to yours? Because we're only showing the highlights, not the downtime, and compare to keep her from comparing and to let her know she can do it too.
Oh, I was having a conversation with someone this morning, Loretta, a professional conversation. She was contemplating whether or not she wanted to stay on her job or if she wanted to apply for a position and advance herself. And I told her, after being with the company 20 plus years, you will regret it if you don't take an opportunity to look at that next level with that company. So for me, it's always about I've got to prioritize the family. I've got a mother that's in her 80s. I have a husband that I've been married to. I have grown sons and three grandchildren. That's a priority. But I also have to make sure that I balance that with my professional life, making sure that that's solid. And then making sure that I have fun as a part of it too. So I'm very structured with my day. I know I said my day is crazy, but I do have like probably pages of clients, activities that I look at every day. And I say, I have to prioritize this work because it's important. And for young women, I tell specifically young women that want to run for office that are working, prioritize your family, prioritize your kids, because you don't get that time back. If I had to do it all over again, I would have probably waited until my sons were young adults to run for office because
Mhm.
I felt like I sacrificed a whole lot of time with them. Now they will tell you, Mom, you were there, you were at every basketball game screaming louder than anybody. They don't feel like they missed anything. But I felt, looking back on it, I feel like I probably could have done a better job if I had really prioritized when I was younger. So, that's what's important at the end of the day.
It is. And so you're a part of a lot of associations outside of the political, the business, because you do a lot in the community. You support organizations, you support things that support people and families. And I think you should have an award named after you because you do give a lot. You give so much. And you've been on the fire, and I have too. Somebody wanted to slander my name for some craziness. And if you're out there, and that's why I told some, I said, if everybody likes you, you're not doing enough. If everybody
And
likes you,
and Loretta, sometimes you have to sit there and take it. I remember I was
you
in a
do. You don't have to
meeting and
fight every battle.
you don't. And probably three or four people went to a mic and they were talking about me, and I'm sitting there at a meeting. And I remember my son shared this social media post with me. Some young lady said, Deidre Malone, all she did was smile. As they were just talking about her, all she did was she sat there and smiled. And sometimes that's what you just have to do, because you
I
know
think
who
that's
you
where the
are.
power is.
Yeah,
That's
you
where
know who you
power
are.
is. Yeah. Quiet
And you
power is
just
the
keep it
most
moving.
powerful to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. I hope someday somebody will say that if I'm ever in that situation again, that I don't. You cannot address it all. You cannot fight every person that does not like you, especially somebody who does not know me, and I know I haven't done anything to them, and I know it's a lie. I just wait till it passes because it'll be somebody else tomorrow. So you mentioned something about preparing women for political office. Let's talk about that because I know you've been doing that for years. And because people think I'm just going to, I want to do it, but I don't know what to do. And nobody's training me, nobody's showing me. But this organization has been around a while.
Oh, Loretta, the National Women's Political Caucus was founded in 1971 by former Congresswoman Shirley Chisholm, Mississippi activist Fannie Lou Hamer, Gloria Steinem, and about 300 of their friends. It's headquartered in Washington, D.C., and the whole purpose of the organization is to recruit, train, and elect women to all levels of government. So at the national level, we look at who's in Congress. And, women come to our organization for endorsements. And I actually have a training tonight. Our vice president of education and training, Chelsea Byers, who's the former mayor of West Hollywood, California, has a training tonight. And so we do a whole lot of training, we do a whole lot of endorsement, and we do a whole lot of electing women, to the state legislature, to local governments. But that's the whole purpose of the National Women's Political Caucus. I'm in my second term as president. After 4 years, hopefully I will have accomplished what I set out to accomplish. And that is trying to get as many state caucuses in this country as possible, because women, we juggle so much, our minds, we think differently, and those are the type of legislators we need in this country. And what's so sad, Loretta, I'm going to say this and then I'll be through, is women need to see themselves in elected positions, and a lot of women don't. I mean, when I ran for county mayor, there were women who were saying, I don't think there should be a woman should be mayor of Shelby County. And I would say to them, I hope that you wish that your daughter and your granddaughter can be. And
Absolutely.
If you have that wish for your daughter or your granddaughter, then you need to take a look at what I'm offering to run this county. And so it's about changing mindsets, and we have to just do that.
And we're going to do it. We're going to keep showing up. We're going to keep on providing information, education, inspiration, insight, impact until it happens. And you are one of the best to do it, Deidre Malone. And I'm so privileged to have you on my show and so happy that you're actually my cousin. But thank you for taking the time to be my guest on the show. And this will not be the last time, because there's so many questions I wanted to ask. You're so gifted in so many areas that can really help uplift and expand everything we're doing as women and as men too. So thank you for being my guest. Any closing remarks?
Outside of thank you so much for the invitation, I've so enjoyed it. And Loretta, invite me back anytime and I'll be there.
You are the best. I'm telling you, the best to do it. You're the best to do it. All right. Bye for now.
Take care.
So Deidre has to go. She's super busy, and I know you have to go too, and I do too. But you know what I got to say? We do have another segment coming up next, so don't go too far. We'll be right back with more The Loretta McNary Show.